Okay, we're going to do a water test on a 1,200-gallon septic tank here. 2-compartment tank. We're going to fill it with water. Make sure there's no leaks. Brandon's hooking up the hose to the truck. We got a system here. Works pretty good. Let's see. Sometimes you got to fasten that up with a rubber snubber because it'll just jump out of there and go on its own ride. Water coming. So the other thing we do is we need to clean out the inlet and outlet end and get the cast-to-seal rubber grommet exposed. They're poured in place in the tank and you have to clean out the cement. Fold them out. Put a cap in there with a clamp on it for now for our test. We'll fill it all the way up to the top, above the inlet and outlet. And if we have the top on it, we'll go ahead and fill it all the way up into the top to make sure the seam doesn't leak. So, that's our plan. So anyway, Iapmo requires these rubber grommets cast in the tank for flexible connection. Those are cast-to-seal. We call them cast-to-seal rings, I believe. I call them rubber grommets. The other thing that might be changed in this tank is the 90-degree that is in the wall and the baffle. We will probably switch that over to just a slot, because Iapmo will allow us to do that, and it'd be easier to work with. Wouldn't have to worry about putting those 90s in there, and the other system would be more efficient for us as far as we're concerned. We'll give this a few minutes and see what we get. But just a note that I'm standing on a 1,500-gallon pump tank that's full of water. And it's been full since the date there is 4/20. It was probably filled a couple days after that. So it's been sitting here full. There's no leaks on it. I imagine that was filled all the way into the top there, but it's probably evaporated out of there because it's certainly not leaking out of the side of the tank. So we'll look at that in a little bit. We don't fill every tank like this. We're doing this just for the purpose of this documentation. think we'll stand by here for a few minutes and see. It's not going to take very long to fill it, and we'll do a walk around and see what else we can find. Once this is full, if we decide we're going to pump the water out to go somewhere else, we usually pump it into another tank for testing, or pump it back in the water truck. We don't like wasting it, of course. A lot of pump tanks, we don't move pump tanks real fast sometimes. We'll just leave them full of water. Maybe they'll sit here for a couple of months before they're sold. Septic tanks, of course, are on a pretty fast track. We get a call and somebody says we have to have a water tested tank first because the engineer said it had to be water tested. We've always got tanks sitting out here full of water. We just pump them out and off to the job they go. So, actually, in the case of pump tanks, we pretty much fill every pump tank because we don't want it going out of the yard with any chance that it's going to leak. And also the water intrusion into a pump tank is the biggest concern anymore. So Brandon's getting pretty close here. We'll fill it up above the inlet and outlet. See what happens. So far so good. I don't see any leaks on the sides. We'll take a view of that in a minute. We actually don't mind leaving these tanks full because in the summer it'll get up to over 100 degrees here, so it always helps curing and helps keep the cement in better condition in the hot weather. Getting pretty close. I think we'll quit there. It's just going to run over otherwise. There you go. One full tank. Go down there and check it out. Check it out in a few more minutes. I don't think it's gonna leak anywhere. Okay. Okay, so here's another view. It's only been a couple minutes here. So there's no leaks anywhere on the outside. So what we're going to do is, my experience tells me that there won't be any leaks anyway. Because if it's not leaking now, it's not going to leak. So we're going to come back in a half hour or so and check it and see what it looks like. Okay, so this tank also has the date on it, 5/11/20. That says 1200 septic tank, but ultimately that'll end up on the top, cast into the top there when we put it on. So I know the Iapmo rule doesn't necessarily worry about filling that into the top, but we fill these into the top and up into the riser, because Sonoma County actually requires their contractors to fill those all the way into the riser so to make sure the riser connection doesn't leak. So that's not a problem. We can do that too. So this tank's not going to leak. It's not leaking now. That's all I have to say about that.